Let's see. I want to welcome everybody today. Even so far, we've got some guests here, so I want to welcome you. Some new members, and thanks for joining. We always happy to have new members. I also want to welcome some of our elected officials. One's turning the chair right now. His name's Micah Gravely. Welcome, Mr. Micah. Our commissioners, Tony Crow, Vernon Collette, and Todd Powdell. Thank you guys for being here. Our Republican nominee for District 17, who's not paying any attention to me, Martin Montahan. So, I don't have any more nominees. They're all in runoffs. Oh, Lord.
I'm not a runoff. I'm out.
I know you're not. That's why you're the only one I could
All we
announce.
got is a socialist.
Yeah, you're the only one I could announce today. So, absolutely. We are real excited. I was just talking to the Board of Elections Friday. Our early vote total as of 5:30 on Friday, even though they went to 6, was 5,300 early votes, which is huge. And we have 730 absentee ballots.
Wow.
So, I mean, that's early, and that's before Tuesday. And this turnout is one reason that we have been quite noticed by all of the state candidates. Because, you know, a lot of counties don't have anything locally going on, so they're not real sure what the turnout will be. But as I was telling Brian Kemp, see, I told you when you come speak to Paulding County, your momentum would change. And since he was here last month, I think his momentum's changed. So anyway, I am going to, you can stand, I want to say the prayer and we'll pledge and then we'll do some worship. Father, we just want to thank you this morning for allowing everyone to be here, for keeping us safe through the storms and the many storms not only of nature but of what's come about in these primaries. Father, we thank you for bringing us through this. We pray for unity after these primaries, that we can all work together. Father, we want to lift up Sandy Catcher, who has announced that she has breast cancer, so we want to pray for her healing. We want to pray for the protection of the rest of our candidates that are up this week. And we just ask you to bless our county, our state, our federal government, especially our president with all that he's going through. And we ask all this in your precious name. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, let's pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. What I did this morning for our meeting is we're just going to have our candidates that are in the runoff to speak. I've also got some surrogates from some other campaigns that are here. So a lot of campaigns, a lot of county parties didn't even have a meeting this morning because it was so close and they're out working. I do know the storms were worse on the east side and several of those because of the storms canceled. So I'm just glad we can have ours. So of the candidates in the runoff, I have John Dean. You want to come up, Mr. Dean? Why don't you come up first since you got here first? In fact, you even beat me this morning.
Don't let public speak, just give it to me first. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is John Dean. I'm a candidate for the Paulding County School Board, 5th District. I want to thank, I'm going to change my approach this morning. I'm not going to talk politics. I want to thank the ladies of the Republican Party for all they've done for the Republican Party and all the support that everybody has given to the Republican Party. I originally started out, I was going to come up here and just bash my candidate. That's not what we're about. I got to thinking, Nikita Khrushchev said in the 60s that he was going to take over America without firing a shot. without firing a shot. I hate to get this close to a mic. And as we can see now, it's happening. It's not collusion, it's division. When you look at what's going on in our state candidates, our presidential elections and stuff, all of the bad, bitter feelings that we've got, we're a small community. We need to stay together. When somebody comes up and starts bashing our candidates as Republicans, we need to stand together and put that down, whether it be a Democrat or just some hothead. So, well, that said, we've got 2 in the wake-up. And for people who's in the military know what that is, because we got 2 days, we got to wake up and it's election day. And that's how we used to calculate how many days we have left in the military. So. But I'm open for any questions. I'm here to talk. I do think that as a Republican Party, we really need to start bonding together and put our differences aside. Or we're basically going to have a bunch of Bernie Sanders and Maxine Waters in office. So. Anyway, thank you for your time, and I appreciate everybody showing up on Saturday morning.
Anybody got
Any questions?
No? Nobody got any questions?
What are you running for?
Paulding County Board of Education, District 5.
Good
Two
job.
of the biggest things I'm for is vocational schools, school security, and changing the way we do business, and that was 3.
Okay. Mr. Crow, would you like to come up next? Since you asked John what he was running for?
Yeah, what's your other for?
School board. What are you running for?
Same thing everybody else is, post 4. Had my share of opponents, and we're down to 1 now. And it's gotten horrible. And I'm really proud. There's some men that I see sitting here that have been in campaigns and political matters. They did a great job without bashing their opponent. They ran on their own merits, and I appreciate men that can stand on their own merits. I gave my children a speech when they left home, both of them, and I told them, I said, listen, you don't have to go anywhere. Hold it up in Paulding County and be ashamed of who your daddy is. I don't owe anybody any money. I haven't beat anybody out of any money. I haven't run off with another man's wife. And you don't have to be ashamed of me. You can tell them who you are and who your father is. And I'm still proud of that. I've run a good campaign, and I know I have, with a lot of help. But I refuse to hurt my reputation by trying to beat somebody else's reputation up. We do a character assassination. These people that run for office, they have families. They got a wife, children, and they got to hear all this bashing. And it's come into my house, but you know, I'd like to reflect on my 3 years and 7 months in office. I've had the pleasure of working with great commissioners, 2 of whom sitting here today, 2 of the finest guys I know. You don't have to wonder where you stand with them. You don't have to wonder if they're about to tell a lie on you or allowing somebody else. They don't do that. And we moved the county forward. We walked into an awkward situation, and we started making the best of what we had to do with it. We've done a great job. You can look at the accomplishments. They're too many to number, but I'll try to hit a few of them. We talked about the 911 center. Todd says I spearheaded that. Thank you, Todd. Couldn't have done it without him. We've had 1 new fire department built, another one on the way, not too long from now. I actually had the privilege of working with the county and some private individuals to move some sewer out on my end of the county. Everybody put some money in, and everybody profited from it. We have the water reservoir that's underway. We got a jail that's about to crack. Well, they're breaking ground and working on it now. And it goes on and on. And the greatest thing, the one that I'm most proud of, when you, and I've talked about this before, we have people that don't have water on their roads and wells going dry. They're doing without water, going to another place to take a shower, using rain barrels to flush their commodes. And this week I had the privilege of being out on Overload Trail and turning that water on. And there were a lot of the citizens out there that live there that's done without. They're proud of that, and so am I. But, you know, like I said, I'm not going to stand up here and bash my opponent, but I am going to say this. I was betting before I got here today he wouldn't show up. And if I was him, I'd be ashamed to show up too. Tony Crow, running for Post 4. If you're in Post 4, Tuesday, the election, if you haven't already heard of it, show up and vote. If you're not in Post 4, tell somebody in Post 4, go vote for Tony Crow. Thank you.
What are you running for?
Same thing everybody else is, Post 4.
I did, just so you know, since you mentioned it, I did reach out to Mr. Stover and asked him if he was coming, and he said that he hadn't made up his mind, he had a lot to do. So I guess his lot to do, there's a lot to do. Okay, let's see. Anybody else running for an office in here? Oh, yeah. Mr. Todd Pownell. Post 2.
I'm Todd Pownell. I'm running for Post 2 Commissioner for another term. If you want honest, open, and transparent government, whether we agree or disagree, I'm asking for your vote. I'm asking for the citizens of Paulding County, if that's what you want to continue, that's what you're going to get with me. You may not always agree with where I stand, but you're going to know where I stand, and it's going to be done right out front. I want to talk just a couple minutes here about the budget, because that's been a hot topic item, and it's a little frustrating. There's more to the budget than what people know, and there's probably a lot of folks in the room right now that know quite a bit about budgets. So I'm not saying that you don't. But we got a lot going on this year. The voters voted for a $77 million jail. And we bonded $72 million. We didn't bond 77, we bonded 72. Because that's what we felt like we could budget and do and be successful with. And we got that money back in the spring, and it's a good thing because money's a lot harder to get right now, and it costs more to get it. So we've got that money, but we bonded $72 million. The voters voted for it overwhelmingly. We've got to make bond payments this year on that. Me and Mr. Klett have talked about that this week. And we're not passing that, right now, we're not passing that on to the voters for this year. We're going to wait till next year, because right now we don't have anything coming out of the ground. We're moving trees and moving dirt, but we don't have anything coming out of the ground. And we thought, well, we need to wait. And our finance director and the commissioner said we probably need to wait and bond and pass that on to the voters once things start coming out of the ground. Meaning we've got to make those bond payments this year because we've got the money. So we're going to be taking that out of fund balance. Okay? We bought the land back behind the courthouse for about $2.3 million. What we don't get credit on is years ago we bought a bunch of property for about $300,000 that we needed to straighten up some roads out in Post 4. And the commissioners at that time decided we're going to buy this whole piece of property because it was easier to buy the whole piece. It was in bank foreclosure. It was easier to buy the whole piece of property and then use what we need, and we could put out the rest of it out for basically auction. We ended up making a profit off that property of about $2.3 million. We don't get a whole lot of credit for that, but that's what we did. And we've got about another $1.5 million worth of property, right, Mr. Klett, that we haven't sold yet. And that'll come another day. We bought the jail property, and we haven't taken that money out of the $72 million, if you're with me, that we bonded, because we want to make sure we take care of getting the jail built, and at the end our goal is to have some money, we put some money in there for property. But we're not going to take that money out and pay for the property right now, so we're paying for it, you the taxpayers, but we're paying for it out of fund balance. And then at the end, we hope to have what we should have in order to take that, but we don't want to take it and then be short on the jail and do something to shorten ourselves on the jail and not have the money, if that makes sense. So my point is, there's a lot going on when it comes to the budget. When you look at payments on the jail this year, could be $4 million that we're going to pay, roughly. And then you look at what we're doing for the jail. And then if you're looking, if we did not do a rollback, if we didn't do a rollback, we would have a little bit more money. But if we did do a rollback, then we're going to be short a couple $1 million. So when you add all that up, you could be looking at 8 or 9 million. So when you're looking at the budget, there's a little bit more to it. I've said to the department heads for the last 3 months, talk to your post commissioners, see where they stand. I don't know that we have the support in order to keep a 6.5 mill rate. We might be looking at doing a rollback. And I've done it for 3 months, and they'll tell you I've done it. I've done it in our department head meetings. I believe in the process happening. So when it was advertised, and Ms. Cochran knows exactly what I'm talking about, but when it was advertised, because that's what we have to do by law, we chose to do that because a few commissioners also wanted to make sure that y'all were able to see, the citizens were able to see the process done out front, and that we could share with you a little bit about what we're doing with the jail, the bond payments that we're making this year that we're not passing on, which would be more than what the rollback would get you, and we're not passing that on. We wanted you to see the process, and I've enjoyed going through that process and having public input so that y'all know exactly what's going on. So when you're in a town hall meeting and people talk to you and they say, hey, we don't want you to raise our taxes unless you're giving it to the sheriff. You know, I mean, it's been said, where do you think the money that we get, that we give to the sheriff, comes from? So if there's budget increases that department heads are asking for, it's also the sheriff department, it's also whoever else, it's everybody. It's not just DOT, it's not just the finance department, it's not just the elections department, it's not just the library systems. You wouldn't believe where we have cut, but you also have the sheriff. And I'm not putting anything out on, against the sheriff, but I'm saying when people say, hey, don't raise our taxes, but we'll pay whatever for public safety, we're the ones that finance that. He does what he wants with the money that we give him, but we budget him. He's in charge of how he spends it. So I say it because we've really got bashed for putting things out in the public eye that's going to happen over the next 6 weeks with meetings and the citizens being able to come to us and talk to us, tell us what you like, tell us what you don't like. That's the process. That's the process that I've stood strong for and fought for to make sure that we do that. And we had commissioners that said, hey, we want to go through this process, let the citizens know. So I know I've thrown a lot at you, and anybody that's watching this on video, I know I've thrown a lot at you on it, but there's more than just, are you going to do a rollback? Are you going to get rid of that $2 million? Well, we're making a $4 million payment, and we've done this and we've done these other things, and we're trying to do what's best as a whole for everybody. And we need your participation in the process. I told somebody yesterday, I don't make a decision based on getting reelected. I won't make the comment that I made 4 years ago because somebody took it out of context. But you're elected to do the job, and the job that I was elected to do 4 years ago, I have that job to do until December 31st of this year. And I'm going to do that job. I'm not going to do something to get reelected. And so when a couple commissioners, and we've talked and we said, hey, we need to let the process happen, go through the hearings, let people come talk to us, let people tell us what they like, what they don't like, if they want to support the sheriff more, if they don't want to do this, they don't want to do that. That's allowing the process to happen. It's easy just to stand somewhere and say, hey, we're going to do a rollback. We're just going to do a rollback. Don't show any tax increase, don't show any, that's an easy decision to make. Is that not right? It may be hard budget-wise, but that's an easy decision to make because nobody's throwing anything at you. The tougher decision to make is say, hey, we want to put the process out there and let the citizens see what we're going through. I support the rollback, but I also support the process. And we had somebody in our Republican Party that was going through something a few weeks back, and she was worried about some things, and I said, if you'll just let the process happen, you'll be surprised what'll happen, what can come out of it. And she went through planning and zoning, she did this, did that. Well, she ended up getting what she wanted. There was something that was going to come close to her in her neighborhood, and it didn't happen, it got turned down. But she let the process happen, and you have to do that. I don't support the tax increase on that, but I also know there's more to it than just that. We've also got to talk about, are we going to go ahead and pass on that debt for the jail for this year, because we can do that. And we were trying to look at the whole thing and see what came out that was going to be best for the citizens. And no matter who's in office next year, whether I'm in office or somebody else is in my seat, based on what we do this year, there's still decisions they got to make next year, and it will affect you. And I'm not a person that's going to make a decision just to push it off on somebody else, because we have a job to do. We were elected to do the job, and I'm elected to do the job of this job that I was elected to do it till this year, December 31st. So I don't know if that makes sense. I may have got off on a rabbit trail for some folks. The budget that was put out was the chairman's proposed budget. I'll leave it at that. It was the chairman's proposed budget. Do I agree with everything? No. It was the chairman's proposed budget, but I do believe in the process happening. Serving with Tony and Vernon has been more than just a pleasure, and I say that because these two guys came into office with me at a time where I was alone. It's been very humbling to serve with them, because I see how they've worked with their heart and how their decisions affect people, and they don't take it lightly. And they listen to folks. Do we do everything right? No. Have we dropped the ball? I'm sure we have. I've been told that through the mail and on the telephone here lately. So I'm sure we have. Okay? But we've worked hard on all kind of issues to make sure that we can do what's right for the citizens of Paulding County. It's been a pleasure to serve with them too. I look forward to serving another term for Paulding County and the citizens of Paulding County in post 2. I will continue to work hard. I will continue to stand strong for what I believe in and what you believe in. I will continue to do the business of the public right out front. People say they don't like this or don't like that, and y'all shouldn't do this. We're doing the business of the citizens right out front. And I think those two commissioners, Tony and Vernon, and myself, have always been respectful to the citizens. And there's been times where things have come at us where maybe some people maybe would have handled it a different way, but we've always been respectful. We work for the citizens, and we work for you whether you agree with us or you don't. We work for you. And so I'll end it with that. I support the rollback, but I support the process. I'm Todd Pownell, running for Post 2 Commissioner. And I promise you, I promise you, I promise you, I will continue to work hard, stand strong, and be honest for the citizens in Post 2 and Paulding County. I thank you, and I thank the Republican Party. Thank you for the time.
Okay, I'm guessing if you guys didn't have any questions for any of these commissioners that are running, did you? Since they already pretty much said it. We have someone from Chris Carr's campaign. I'm going to let him come up and speak. Do I have any others from any other campaigns?
Is there anybody here from the Kemp campaign to speak?
Kemp, or I was supposed to, got word that Brandon Phillips was coming for Cagle's campaign, but I don't see that Brandon made it. Of course, Brandon's not real happy right now. Come on from the campaign.
All right, we seem to be having some problems, so I want to make sure I can be heard. My name is Will Stowers. I grew up over in Kennesaw, so this was a nice drive over to Paulding County. Thank you guys for having me. It's great to be here. I'm glad we all made it through the storm last night, but that woke all of us up. Good thing to get up early on a Saturday morning, though. So I represent Attorney General Chris Carr. Chris Carr was appointed to this spot in 2016 by the governor. Previously, he was the Commissioner of Economic Development for the state when Georgia was rated the #1 state in which to do business. Before that, he was the Chief of Staff for Senator Isaacson. So a lot of people know we have an Attorney General. A lot of people don't know what the Attorney General does. Join the club. Most of us don't. So Attorney General, there's a few hundred attorneys on staff as opposed to the state of Texas, which has a few thousand. So if you're ever worried about what the state of Georgia is doing with your money, don't worry, the law department is not wasting it. So the Attorney General, if you might have seen on the news last week, the Attorney General began an all-in approach to handling the gang crisis that we're having here in the state of Georgia. So a little over 50% of the crime that's been happening in the state of Georgia is related to gang activity. So the Attorney General Carr brought together the U.S. attorneys, district attorneys from different counties, sheriffs, and other criminal justice reform people from around the state into tackling this crisis. In addition, Attorney General Carr is ready to go all in also on the opioid crisis that has been affecting every community around the state. No more funerals. No one should lose any more family members to opioid addiction or people who would take advantage of people who have been sick or been in the hospital. Excuse me. Also, we want to make sure that, as great as it is that we'll have all these world events coming to the city of Atlanta and around the state of Georgia, the Super Bowl, the National Championship, Final Four, all those great events, no one takes advantage of that using our airport or using our interstate system to sell children or sell people into the sex trafficking trade. That also has to come to an end. The Attorney General is committed to ending that. We were not in a runoff. I know everybody's ready for Tuesday. We did not have a primary opponent. Come Wednesday morning, we're going to have all of our Republican candidates. They're all great. Remember, vote in November. We do have an opponent. I don't know his name. I will tell you, but I don't. So.
And I would keep going, but I'm going to say something that's very supportive of Carr.
Yes, sir. So we'll be coming back around to Paulding County. We love coming out here. Fortunately, Chris had to be over in Lawrenceville today, so that's why he couldn't make it over here today. It's a big state, as I've learned the past couple of weeks. So thank y'all for having me today.
It is a big state. Yes. In fact, I was fixing to call on you.
Well, I'll just say this right now.
Okay.
I'll tell you this. This is a very important race. I'll say it's a very important race. Y'all need to be very much in tune with. The Democrats are looking at specifically the Public Service Commission. Obviously, they want governor, but they're looking at the Public Service Commission, Secretary of State's office, and the Attorney General's office. The opponent's name is Charlie Bailey. And if you don't know who Charlie Bailey was, he worked for Governor Roy Barnes and has already indicated that he would withdraw some of the lawsuits that the state of Georgia has already filed against some of the federal government's measures. So it's in a very important race. It's a very important office in the state of Georgia. And if we don't retain Chris Carr, we're going to have some problems in the state of Georgia. So I just want to make sure y'all know that. Thank you for being here this morning. It's a very important race.
Thanks, Mike. Yes, as they were saying, on Wednesday, we're all united Republicans, and we're going to not only keep Georgia red, we're going to keep Paulding County red. We have, the party has undertaken, we have an office, a location now for the campaign, the general convention. It is up at the Crossroads area, and if you know where the Paradise Donuts is, that's the best way to say it. Everybody knows where donuts are. We're right there, and we've got the space. We're going to have our kickoff and opening, hopefully grand opening, next Saturday at 10:30. We're trying to get everything together. We're going to have a little reception, but it's going to cost, some money. And the 14th district is working with us. And our goal is to, and this is my thing. I'm not real good at coming up with little clever phrases, but basically, if you know, the Democrats said they had a big blue wave that was going to come knock out Republicans. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to put up our big red wall to stop that wave. So, what we're going to ask, we're working on finalizing this so that we can do it. What we're going to do is allow the citizens of Paulding County and the 14th district, because I talked to Ed Painter, and the 14th I think is going to work with us. We're going to allow the citizens to actually buy bricks on this wall, and that will help us to finance this office. We had to pay rent and electricity and Wi-Fi and all that other stuff. But we also have some needs.
I got your first bread.
Huh?
I got your first bread.
All right.
I'll buy it.
Yay! First brick. Woo-hoo, Martin. We do have some items, besides monetary, we do have a few items that if you have, we would love to borrow for 6 months. If you want to give it to us, that's fine. But if you just want to let us borrow them, that's great. We need some plastic the plastic tables that fold up that are easy. We need some of those because we're going to have, we're going to be doing phone banking there. State party's working with us, the 14th district's working with us. So I need some we need some of those. I would like a couple of bookshelves to put literature on so it's not scattered everywhere. Plus, we're going to work on trying to get some party items that we could sell and some other stuff that we might sell a little bit, just so that people can have them. Maybe we'll even get a Let's Make America Great Against Calp or something out there. What else was I going to do? Oh, and if anybody's got a dorm size refrigerator that we could borrow, I'd like to keep cold water in there for people that, and plus it's a place we can start to do canvassing. This is, the 14th district has targeted Chattooga County and Paulding County is the two counties they're going to work in. Why, you say? We have seven counties. We have 7 elections. Of those 7 elections, we have 5 Democrats running against those 7. And believe it or not, the 2 that will not have a Democrat opponent is Tony and Todd. Other than that, they all have a Democrat running against them. Except for Micah. Micah didn't have anybody running against him. Yeah, he's like Bill Heath and Mike Dugan. They don't have anybody, but they've been so great down there, nobody wants to run against them. But anyway, we have 5 Democrats. And so we're going to go to work. The district's going to work with us. We're going to make sure we keep all of these seats. I don't want to lose one seat and I want to win them big, because here's the thing. We have worked really hard for the last 20 years to keep Democrats out of Paulding County as far as elected. We do have one post in the far southeast part of our county, but one precinct, we can't, because it's just one precinct in Paulding County, and that precinct is still Republican, we can't control that whole seat down there. So that I have to, I can't push on that one, because I'm afraid if I push hard on that one, then it puts people even more out here to run against the ones we do have. So with that being said, we're going to work hard. The 14th's going to come. We're going to make sure every candidate, we cannot allow a Democrat. Once we get one Democrat in here, and I'm sure Micah can agree with me, You get one Democrat in Paulding County, and the rest of them they're just going, the state party will then flood Paulding County with money for these Democrats to run. So, anyway, I hope that helps. Next month in August, I'm working on my speakers. Right now, Mr. Fred Engel will be conducting the meeting next month because Rocky, Darrell, and I will be in Henry County electing the next committee man, the next committee man for Georgia to represent at the RNC. And I guess some of you guys saw it, which is really great. We got, as everybody says, it's a great road trip. Charlotte has been chosen for the next 2020 national convention, and that's good because it's an easy drive. Beverly and I went to, and Marcia went to Tampa, and that was a drive. That was an easy drive, saved you some money driving. But in September, I'm really excited about our guest speaker in September. And I don't know if any of you have ever read this book here. It's called Devil Inside the Beltway. I'm sure nobody's surprised that the devil's inside the Beltway. But this is about Mike Doherty. He wrote this book. It was about his company and how his company was bullied, cyber bullied. They were extorted money, and to come to find out, it was the federal government. So he went up against the federal government and he won. And he's still fighting some other things. But he'll tell you his story, and it reads like a suspense mystery novel. When you read this thing. So, and Mike is very entertaining anyway, so I'm excited about that. We've got some other, I'm sure we're going to have some of the statewide candidates that will be coming out here. And we've got some good stuff coming up this year, so I hope y'all stay involved. Anybody think of anything else I forgot?
Who's the speakers for next month?
I don't know, Fred. I didn't get it yet. I've met some people. Martin, hey Martin, would you like to be the guest speaker next month?
Yeah, I'll be the guest speaker next. You want me to, too?
Okay, Martin's going to speak for you next month, Fred. I'll get somebody else too. Martin. Okay. Anybody got anything? Everybody, make sure you signed everything, that you're here. If you haven't joined, come join. If you got to renew, come renew. Rocky, you want to talk about?
I won't get up here before Micah does.
Oh gosh, here comes Rocky.
First of all, some of you are new. I've met a couple of new faces today. Just so you know, the reason I take pictures is to help in identifying people who are here, because it relates to whether or not you get to go to the district and state conventions. So that's why I do that. My name's Rocky Swan, and I've been going all around the county for a while now with a shotgun. I'm looking for a kid named Jake, and I haven't found him yet. I don't think he's in Paulding County, but if you see him, would you please call me and let me know. He's been trying to mess with Brian Kemp's daughters, so let me know about it. I feel real good about Brian's chances on Tuesday. I think maybe most of you have seen how the polls have flipped and whatnot. For a long time, the polls were neck and neck, and now a number of different polls are suggesting that Brian's going to win this thing and maybe handle it. But don't let that cause you to get complacent. Go out and vote for Brian Kemp on Tuesday if you've not already done so. Thank you.
Good morning. Hey, everybody. Use this. Does this connect to a camera speaker? Hey, folks. My name is Martin Montana. I was a candidate. I'm the Republican nominee for Georgia State House District 17. Happy to be here. Happy to be here with a little bit more sleep. I know we all woke up just like the gentleman from Chris Carr's campaign said this morning. We got woken up by some thunderstorms, and I guess I'll start by saying this. Thank you for praying for rain, but I'm also, if I find you, I'm going to have to give you my lawnmower bill and for all this grass I'm having to cut. But folks, I just wanted to talk about and be candid with you. Just like Nancy was saying, we do have some liberal influence. I was reading an article just the other day, and they said that George Soros had given the Democratic Party in Georgia $1 million. George Soros. So, guys, that's filthy. Okay, this is socialism. This is communism. It's coming back. We've got opponents in these races that are running on very socialist and liberal ideas, and we've got to fight. We have opponents that have made personal connections with people like Bernie Sanders, Hillary Clinton. We have got to make sure that we keep Paulding County red, that we realize what we're fighting for, that we're going out there because we believe in life, because we believe in small government, because we believe in less taxes, we believe in more liberty, more freedom, the ability to take care of our children, our families, in the way that we see fit, to attend our church of choice on Sunday. These are important. These are important factors for us to keep Paulding County red. It's how I raised my family. It's how I was raised out here, right here in Union. And I want to make sure that we can keep this place red, that we can keep Paulding County a place where we can raise our children. So folks, we've heard a lot about a blue wave. You know, I don't know about a blue wave, but I will say this, you know, it's more like a fungus that grows on the under joist of your house and that you have to spray with bleach about every 6 months. But y'all, it's time to get the bleach out. Okay? And it's time to start cleaning up. Because we can't let it come out here. This is where we live. I believe in a hand up. I don't believe in a handout. I believe in the American dream. I believe in prosperity by work. And that is what we as Republicans believe in. So I'd ask you, please join me, help me. I'm going to need your help. I'm going to go out to as many doors as I can, talk to as many voters as I can, and share my love for this county, for this state, and for the principles that I believe in. My name is Martin Montahan. I'm the candidate for State House District 17, and I please ask you for your support in the general election in November.
Well, good morning. Great job, Martin. My name is Micah Gravely. I represent House District 67, which is South Paulding, which is the community I live in. It goes down into West Douglas County, which is, if you know anything about West Highway 5, that's the district that I represent. And Todd really hit on something that really struck a chord with me. Voting not to try to get reelected. And we hear a lot of folks say voting right of conscience. Voting your conscience, which is what you sent me down there to do. Sometimes my conscience has led me to vote against leadership, my caucus. Whether it be an overwhelming tax increase dealing with transportation, whether it be with a system that is going to try and unite or increase transit throughout the metro. Sometimes my caucus has led me to vote with my conscience has led me to vote with my caucus. Let me tell you what's happened in the last 6 years that I've been there. I've seen attempts to try and weaken the Second Amendment. I've seen folks go down there and talk about common sense gun control. I've been proud to sponsor or co-sponsor constitutional carry. I've been proud to co-sponsor bills that would prohibit the executive office in our state from confiscating firearms in times of emergency, which was state law in Georgia. I've seen folks drop bills that would repeal or put a ban on assault weapons, and when you read the measure, it goes down and relegates the citizens of this state to simply a shotgun and a revolver. I've seen bills that allow us to allow students to protect themselves on college campuses. We voted for that in a Republican majority. And Martin had a great point about getting out the bleach. Democrats talk about education all the time. How we got to fund education, how we got to fund education. And up until 2002, they had never fully funded the program they implemented. Not one time. We came in under Governor Sonny Perdue. If you know anything about that, we came in and we were in the hole. For about the last 10, 12 years, coming into Governor Dill's administration, and coming into the end of that administration, we've been able to fully fund education, QBE, while also increasing the charter school and private school scholarships. We've been able to put in place a campus carry piece of legislation which would allow our students the opportunity and the right to take that right and protect themselves. We've been able to lower the state income tax. We capped it, which the Democrats never did. We capped it so it can never go any higher. Then we decided to lower it. If we come back and the revenue is showing positive, we're going to lower it even more. We were able to put the stop and repeal to credit card companies who would charge you to freeze your credit and then they would charge you to thaw your credit. We were able to do lots of things with our Republican leadership here in Georgia. The Democrats think that they're going to take a chunk out of that majority this year. They think they're going to gain 10 seats in the Georgia House of Representatives. Now, if we don't get out and work, they very well could. We've got some seats that may be inside or just right outside the metro that need to be worked on. We've got to get folks out voting the entire ticket. As I said earlier in my comments, they're looking at several statewide offices. Ladies and gentlemen, that just cannot happen. It cannot happen. Let me tell you about a bill. We had our law enforcement, we had a bill that was brought to us, came through our committee. All it did was simply increase the penalties on juveniles that shot at police officers. Instead of starting out in juvenile court, we would send it, and then possibly being remanded to Superior Court, we would start it in Superior Court. If a juvenile shot at a police officer, had that type of violence toward a police officer, we would start that in Superior Court and allow the Superior Court judge to determine whether or not that needed to be remanded down to juvenile court. Ladies and gentlemen, overwhelmingly, Democrat caucus voted against it. So when you talk about standing with our public safety personnel, cutting taxes, going after the gang problem, the opioid crisis, whether it be sex trafficking and human trafficking, looking at ways to decrease the size of our government, looking at ways to make our government more efficient, more streamlined in the state of Georgia. That's happened on a Republican watch. Democrats had the great economy of what we understood as the Clinton administration, didn't fund education, didn't increase scholarships, didn't do anything to put away rainy day funds or anything like that when the state went into a recession. We became the #1 place to do business under Republicans. We were able to grow this state and the economy under Republicans. We were able to protect constitutional rights under Republicans. We were able to streamline and make government more efficient under Republicans. Now, if we want to look back and mess around with possibly allowing that to go away under the leadership or governor's office of a Stacey Abrams, or having our majority crack down on in the House, then that's something the voters are going to have to decide. But it's all at stake because they want to redo a lot of that stuff. They want to repeal a lot of that stuff. Zero tolerance, bill I carried in the House, allowed the state government to get out of the local school districts, allowed the local school districts to make a determination on whether or not a student should be charged with a felony for simply bringing a letter opener, a baseball bat, or a lacrosse stick to school, in or outside of season. Those are the types of common sense issues we've worked on, and I've been proud to be a part of. Supporting public safety personnel, making sure that our kids have what they need to either go into the workplace through our technical college system, through some type of an apprenticeship, or going on to get a college degree. That's happened on a Republican watch. Now, if we want to see that dismantled, then don't tell any of your friends or family to get out and vote. Don't tell them how important this election is. Now, I've gotten behind Brian Kemp. I've publicly endorsed Brian Kemp. And I hope Brian Kemp wins it. But I'll tell you this, as I've stood before this party many times before, whoever our nominee is, I'm going to be getting behind them as well. And I'll be supporting our ticket. Ronald Reagan said an 80% friend is not a 20% enemy. But what I've heard here again, or this morning, is Ronald Reagan also said, never speak ill will against another Republican. I will debate and argue policy all day long. And I've got some issues that I work on that some people don't agree with, and that's fine. Let's argue and debate the policy. But I'm not going to demonize the individual because, as I've said again many times before in this room, you guys are my family members. And there's not one of you I wouldn't lock arms with to help strengthen this party and to grow our majority. So I'll be running, though I don't have an opponent, I'm going to be running a campaign. We've already started our door-to-door process. Those of you out there running, I look forward to working with you as well. Thank you for allowing me to serve. It is a great honor, and I take it very, very seriously to represent House District 67. Thank you, Nancy.
The 14th district is looking at, and probably the party, the county, we'll be pulling out these what do you call them? Push cards. Thank you. The push cards, on one side we'll have our Republican values, and on the other side we'll have a list from governor on down of who our candidates are, so that people know this is your Republican ticket. The only person we can't put on there is Congressman Graves, but I think he's fine because we can't do anything with the federal, or they're gonna come get us. But one quick point. I heard somebody said, if it's Brian Kemp or if it's Casey Cagle, they're gonna beat her like something like 70-30, and I go, you're dreaming. If you guys remember, it took them a while to actually declare Georgia for Trump, because President Trump got 54% of the vote. 54, you know. So we do have a lot of work to do. One thing that Mike kind of touched on, we definitely have to work very, very hard for whoever our nominee is and the Secretary of State, and because they're going to be running against a former congressman, John Barrow. We need that Secretary of State, because guess what? 2020 is
Redistricting.
Redistricting, yes. You do your census, and we get to redistrict. So we don't want them to do like the Democrats did last time and put Paulding County in with Gwinnett County. I really just don't see that I have anything in common with Gwinnett County. So I don't, you know. So anyway, I just want to say we're going to work hard. We are going to be having some work sessions this week up at the office. We need to paint it, clean it up, paint it, and get it ready to go. We're rock and rolling. So maybe putting it on the Facebook page. Based on, again, what Micah said, then I'll just shut up. My Facebook page, I got beat up both sides, so I figured if I'm getting beat up on both sides, I must be doing the right thing. But that was one of the things we had on our page, is we don't bash Republicans. And sometimes the comments did not have to delete them or turn them off or, you know, clean it up. But anyway, we don't bash Republicans on the Republican Party page. Now, you go to the Good Government page and it's all about war over there, so that's okay, but not on my page. Yes, mister.
Did I miss where you told us you had an office already?
Yes.
You have it secured and ready to rock?
Yes, we have an office. We already signed the contract, and we're ready to rock and roll. Deborah Seaver helped us get this. We got it at a humongous discount, so I'm happy with that. So, yes.
I forgot to mention, on July 25th, that's next Wednesday, some of you running for school board may be interested in this. The general public is invited. The Douglas County Sheriff's Office is going to be doing one of the most comprehensive active shooter drills in the state. They're doing that at Mason Creek Middle School, I believe, over in Douglas County, just off of Post Road. It's open to the public, but they're going to go all out as if it is a real situation. If you want, Nancy, I'll forward some information to you.
I'll put it on the page.
Yeah, and so if anybody's interested in seeing how Douglas County Sheriff's Office, and they're going to be working with other cooperative law enforcement officers in the future here in Paulding County and the surrounding area, but this is the second one they've done, and the response was so high that they're doing another one. So if you wanted to go out and just watch what type of situation is going to go on and how law enforcement responds, next Wednesday, July 25th, they're going to have an active shooter scenario and drill in Douglas County.
Great, thank you. But yeah, just remember, next Saturday, 10:30, we're going to try to kick off our offices, and I'll be posting all that. So, is there any other announcements? Yeah, I did.
anybody here that can volunteer some time this week to come over to the new office and help out, please see Nancy and get your name and time on the list. We would appreciate it.
Yes, and Mr. Crow, are you still here? Tony, are you still here?
No?
Oh, good, okay. Well, anyway, guys, if you haven't voted, vote. If you've already voted, pray. And then we'll be done, and I'm going to be putting on our page on Tuesday morning a song called Oh Happy Day, because I'm so glad this is all over with. So I hope everybody has a great weekend. Talk to you soon.